Hello everyone, and welcome to the beginning of a new video series. This is on the mystery of MAZZAROTH, which is taken from issue 4, 1997 of my old Temple Doors archives. I will be reading and commenting on, as I go along, this information. I'm not going to be reading the whole issue, I'm just going to be taking pieces of it, but I believe you will find it interesting, and my current commentary on it as well, considering when I read these things to you, most likely I haven't read any of it for many, many years, some of it since I wrote it. So, it's interesting discovery for myself and for you as we go along together and open this scroll, as Thoth would say. We're going to begin with the alphabet of the Ark, language of Metatron. As many of you know, I do a alphabet of the Ark template for people, personal template, and it's based on this material. But I'd like to go in depth about the actual alphabet of the Ark as a language of Metatron, and we can see what unfolds here. The following sacred symbols, and these are shown here, and I'm not showing them to you at the moment, are inscribed upon alchemically altered golden plates, which line the inside of the Ark of Grace, an actual physical object designed by the hierarchy to ground higher consciousness to earth. These sacred symbols are accompanied here with their correspondent vocables. The alphabet of the Ark is actually another version of what Thoth calls the Aegis of Metatron. Each of these symbols, vocables, has an angelic energy which is associated with it. So here you see the alphabet of the Ark as it was given to me. These are my original symbols, but my dear friend Rowena Patty Kreider of Creative Harmony, who has since transitioned, actually drew them out for me in this pretty colorful pattern. I just had them in black and white. And if you go to my Spirit Mythos website and do a search for Alphabet of the Ark, you will find it on that page there. The alphabet of the Ark is part of the language of Metatron, an archangelic alphabet. In the historic Kabbalah, there is mention of something called eye writings, E-Y-E, or Ketav Inayim. I hope I'm saying that right. It's K-E-T-A-V E-I-N-A-Y-I-M. According to Thoth, the divine language form represented in the alphabet of the Ark is contained within the matrix of this greater archangelic flame script. The actual eye writings are composed of circles and lines in the form of small flames and encoding of sorts. The symbolic keys to moving into the higher worlds of consciousness lie within this archangelic alphabet, called the Ketav Inayim. This alphabet, or series of symbol codes, is representative of the higher template for creation. The higher intelligences, such as the Elohim creator beings, use this template to project the elements of life into creations such as the planet Earth. An analogy to demonstrate this principle could be seen in the projection of a movie onto a screen by a high-powered and focused beam of light coming from the projector. The projector and beam of light represent the Elohim creation being's consciousness. The celluloid and focusing device on the projector represent the template and its synchronization function, The screen represents the magnetic receptacle or matrix which will receive the higher image, and the image movie is the creation itself. The celluloid of the archangelic language has a function which also keeps the lesser creation in synchronization with the higher template, like the focusing device on the projector in our analogy. It is the harmonic resonance of these archangelic letters with both the higher vibratory frequency patterns of God's name and the elements of the lesser creation worlds which allow this synchronization to occur. They act as an intermediary transducer, much as a tuning fork, which when struck and then being brought into proximity of another tuning fork will start the second fork to begin vibrating also. This occurs only if the second fork is tuned to a resonant harmonic of the first tuning fork's note or waveform. Now consider 3 tuning forks, each one of the second 2 tuned to a lesser resonant harmonic, slower vibratory frequency, than the one before it. Thus, when the first tuning fork is struck and placed into proximity with the second now begins to vibrate to its own frequency, and the third, also being in the correct position, will also begin vibrating at its own frequency pattern. Thus we can see now that we have 3 levels of creation, all being put into motion from the first or uppermost level, which vibrates as the highest frequency. So long as the other levels are tuned or synchronized to the first in this manner, then the projection of the higher realm can occur in the lower. The slower vibration of the last tuning fork is a perfect image of the vibration of the higher tuning fork, but the rate of its vibration per unit of time has been slowed down. This is a good, simple model to demonstrate the principles involved in the projection of the elements of this world from the higher worlds of intelligence. The alphabet of the arc is one such archangelic language, which serves as the middle tuning fork for us. As I was reading this, it occurred to me that I'd just the other day received about and wrote about the fifth frequency beings. And in that article, very briefly, I stated that these beings that have this elongated skull that we've found on the planet, like in the skulls we find in South America, and of course Akhenaten's skull, and some of the other Egyptians, they're all what Thoth calls fifth frequency beings, and they can come from various star systems, all within the human template, but from various systems. And this particular one that he was referring to was from Sirius, but they can come from a lot of different star systems, but they're on a particular frequency level. And I think what I'm reading here is sort of tapping into that understanding of the various levels. This is speaking about vibration, and of course frequency is a pattern of vibration. So I believe I found why he is naming them that. And so to continue with this article, the sacred names of God as we know them on earth are composed of the archangelic alphabet known as the, I have to say this word again, Ketav Inyayim, and also include the names of the angelic energies which themselves are serving the purpose and function of being the middle tuning fork and thus the language itself. These sacred names not only serve to provide the template for projecting the reality itself in the first place, but also to redeem it now as well. You see, the earth creation has gotten to be like a tuning fork which no longer vibrates well to the divine tuning fork and its angelic intermediary. Thus, the children of light on the earth must begin to attune themselves as the third tuning fork to the intermediary angelic tuning fork, which then in turn brings them into resonance again with the ultimate divine tuning fork. In time, the entire creation can be brought back into this vibratory pattern through the efforts of the children of light. It is interesting that this analogy comes into tuning forks because, as many of you know, I was recently gifted by a beautiful set of tuning forks, the creation of a true alchemical, mathematic, musical artist, Randy Masters of universalsong.com. And I've been working with them, experimenting with them for my own self personally, and also to see how I can capture the sound well enough to share it with all of you on some videos. It hasn't been very successful yet. I think I know what I need to do, though. I have to get another piece of equipment, but I would really like to do that. However, the tuning forks themselves are really speaking to me and telling me that, you know, we are in a giant system of tuning forks in the universe, you know, and here it is again in this material I'm reading from 1997. To continue, the angelic vibratory codes held within the archangelic language will increasingly integrate with our own genetic consciousness forms as we prepare ourselves for the ascension. Thus, the sound of these vibratory patterns will be incorporated into the matrix of the body of creation. Yes, and realize this was written in 1997, and here we are in 2016. We are really into it now. We are really into this, with the vibration of the whole planet singing to us. All these mysterious sounds we hear all over the world, you know, that are captured on video and audio. The matrix in this context is the vibratory pattern which is currently the basis for the totality of the creation, both fallen and unfallen. The word matrix, however, represents various differing levels of consciousness patterning. The matrix or seal of the human body consciousness, which must be broken for this process to integrate at a cellular level, is correlative to the 666 genetic code. Now, the 666, I write here, the defiled 66, and I don't know if defiled is really the right translated word for it. That's a bit strong, but the 666 has been mutated. Doesn't make it bad or evil. See, the Bible wants to show you that it's so, you know, it's really not good. And there are properties of it that aren't because it is mutated. But, you know, in its essence, it's a pure code. It's just been overlaid by some warping. The Adam Kadmon is the ultimate divine template for humanity, but has also been tampered with by the fallen Nephilimic overlords. It is now being resurrected or reconstructed through the use of the vibratory patterns contained within the divine names, which are in turn formed from the archangelic languages. Thus, as we incorporate these higher vibratory patterns into our own consciousness and genetic makeup, we become co-creators in the resurrection of the Adam Kadmon. I want to make a slight adjustment here in the text as well, because when I say that the Adam Kadmon has been tampered with, I'm not speaking of the higher first template. I'm talking about the template as it exists in our current DNA. So that should have been pointed out in that text there, and it wasn't. So I'm correcting it now. When we have come into high enough resonance with the frequency patterns of the divine names within our own very beingness, the pathway is then opened for the angelic beings holding these patterns to project their image directly into your holistic body, mind, soul template, thereby bringing you the last distance across the upper threshold into your divine heritage, full expression of the Adam Kadmon template. The Adam Kadmon template is actually comprised of the myriad different and archangelic codes for our human manifestation, arranged into the patterns of the many divine names. You know, as I was reading this, wow, I just got a flash. I don't know really how to describe it, but I saw like the outline of a body, like a drawing. Okay, this was a drawing, like on poster or something. And it was the outline of a human body, but in it were these little these eye writings, these little fire flame writings of names through the entire body. It was just covered with them. It was like a net, but it wasn't chaotic. It was like these very narrow scripted lines, one on top of the other, atop the other, atop the other, like crisscrossing all through the body. It was really quite beautiful. A name is but a specific arrangement of different frequency patterns, much like a tune is comprised of various notes strung together in harmony. Thus, the Adam Kadmon can be seen as a direct manifestation of the tree of life. The sacred names, vibratory codes held upon the tree of life, are continually being evolved to find the strongest frequency patterns, and the weaker ones, which can be violated by fallen forces, are then culled from the tree. This is the tree of life. It contains the highest, turn page, and strongest frequency codes in the form of the divine names, which the efforts of the hierarchy have been able to obtain. The experience of souls within fallen worlds like Earth provides an excellent arena for determining which of these frequency codes or divine names can be utilized to withstand the manipulative efforts of the fallen angelics, which we must remember also have been created to uphold the function of holding higher templates for reality. It is thus that they are able to rearrange these patternings to suit their own agendas and then place them as overlays upon the divine templates, causing a confused pattern to manifest on Earth, not at all like the intended pattern put into place by the true hierarchy of light. It's not at all like that. In other words, I kind of read that poorly, but what's being called here the fallen hierarchy is creating overlays. It's not really entering the actual true template. It can't do that. That's inviolate. But it's overlaying it between it and us, in that vibratory no man's land. And that's what we keep, trying to work through to get to the original, which distorts our spectrum of it. Thus, the use of these archangelic language patterns can reactivate our tuning fork so that it vibrates with the true pattern once again, that of the Metatronic Christ consciousness. The office of the Christ and the office of Metatron are master consciousness thresholds. They exist on 3 different levels or functions in the dynamic of the sacred names, i.e. vibratory frequency patterns. This threefold dynamic, concisely defined, is thus: Metatronic holds pathways from the higher worlds to the Adam Kedmon worlds. Christic holds pathways for human unfoldment into the potential of the Adam Kadmon. Human holds the pathways for the passage of the Adam Kadmon manifestation on Earth or similar worlds. In the latter, the Great Pyramid holds a key for the Earth to be able to access the Adam Kadmon frequency patterns in their undefiled state. Thoth expresses, there are many different circuits or pathways available for divine fire codes to be assimilated into a planetary reality such as Earth's. One of them is what we are referring to as the alphabet of the arc. It is a specific archangelic frequency pattern within 24 main vibratory pathways that aligns corporeal realms with the full light Metatronic Christ spiral in a specific path of viability relative to the core essence of Metatronic consciousness. The arc of grace is a sounding or tuning device for the human element in its integration with Metatronic consciousness, and this particular vibrational path of assimilation, the alphabet of the arc, was chosen by the hierarchy for Metatronic consciousness to be returned to humanity. The alphabet of the arc is encoded in alpha logic versus other fire codes which are encoded in omega logic. Alpha logic is a pattern that interfaces with the evolution of human logical mind processes, and can therefore be presented in correlative human language forms, whereas the omega logic interfaces only with higher mind principles incorporated in the soul and cannot be associated with any corollaries in human language expression. Wow. I'm kind of letting that soak in for a minute, as I bet you are as well. And so to continue, Thoth also tells us that the Metatronic, I bet I pronounced that differently every time I've said it, but I did give you the spelling for it, is the overall format for which 144,000 different archangelic language stratum are contained within. Thus I'm going to call it Katav for short, because I can pronounce that. Thus the Katav is formatted neither in alpha nor omega logic, but contains both inherent within its overall design and is beyond that type of definition. The alphabet of the ark was chosen as the most viable path of all the 144,000 available pathways to work in synergy with a grounding device such as the Ark of the Covenant. Thoth tells us that there has never been any other of these available archangelic pathways used in conjunction with a device like the Ark on the earth. However, some of the other 144,000 stratum or archangelic languages have been employed in various ways in the Earth's history and will continue to provide additional pathways to the greater light. Now, the next part of the text is referring to Path of Horus, which was a sacred journey that my former husband Simeon-NEAAF and I facilitated for a group of people into Egypt and the Sinai. I really physically went there, and that was an incredible journey for me. And this is talking about the Path of Horus and saying Thoth had given us the information we are imparting in this article as part of the procedure for that journey. He related to us why this archangelic language was to be utilized in the temples in Egypt and why he assigned those who went on this journey specific ark names comprised of 4 specific vocables put together from the alphabet of the ark, which was used in chants in the Great Pyramid. Now, this is what I am now, I continue to give through my alphabet of the ark templates that I do for people in my services. And Thoth states about this: the chanting of the mantrams formed from the alphabet of the ark vocables, which I have given, facilitated reactivation of the Metatronic Christ consciousness codes within the sacred vaults of the Egyptus, Thoth's name for Egypt, in order to recapitulate the perfect ancient memory patterns contained therein for future generational light work. The sacred ark names are given as a means, and I stress the word means, for the individual on the journey to integrate more completely with the Metatronic Christ full light spectrum through the archangelic language used in conjunction with the Ark of Grace, which is now stationed inside a chamber within Mount Sinai. Well, it is no longer stationed within a chamber of Mount Sinai because a few years ago, I'm very bad at numbers, so I'm not going to try to state which year, but it was just a few years ago, it was transferred into its new thresholding chamber in the Crest in the Stone Mountain of Crestone, Colorado. That's a whole other topic, but I just wanted to update you on where the Ark is at this point. The Path of Horus, Return to the Stars, Sacred Journey, was in essence an opportunity for recapitulation of one's human divinity, accessed via a stellar coordinate, i.e. the Path of Horus in this instance, which moves through the portal of space-time limitations and back into the Metatronic Christ spectrum of full-light consciousness. The initiatic ritual enactment of the Return to the Stars, which the participants of this journey embarked upon, while not being the true physical passage, was nevertheless a measure of divine grace which can be imparted to the soul, should the individual choose to accept it fully. The sacred ark name we gave to each individual is a tool for the seeker to employ in their efforts to merge once again with their higher dimensional presence. So I'd like to say that, the arc names, as Thoth gave in this instance to the Path of Horus voyagers, and is still available as a personal service to people through my mystical stream site. I truly believe that they are helpful, or I wouldn't be offering them continually. They are powerful, but it's what you do with them. You don't just get it and look at it and say, oh, that looks nice, interesting, and file it away. You really have to, go into it in your own way and receive from it. Perhaps look at the symbols and maybe do the mantra every day for a while, maybe then go back to it maybe months later and do it again for a while. There's different ways to do this. And one of the ways, which was offered on this journey, was one of our participants and dear friend, Carol Mann, created this beautiful little pendant on a chain. And the little pendant, she wrote each person's individual arc name on, because Thoth had given it to me in advance for everyone on the journey. She rolled it up in a teeny tiny little scroll, and she stuck it inside the pendant. So you can't even see it. It's all wrapped inside this beautiful little pendant. And to wear around the neck. And they wore these when they went through the ceremony in the Great Pyramid. Well, the whole process, but that was really powerful. And they lay in the sarcophagus with their arc name around their neck, chanting the arc name. It was really amazing, quite an experience. And so that's another suggestion. And I do have on the services page, if you follow the links, you will find where you can contact Carol Mann, and she will make you a pendant if you'd like one. First, you have to get the arc name from me from the session, but you can, ask her to make you a pendant. Of course, she will charge something. I don't know what it is, but I'm sure it's quite reasonable. That's just an offshoot of understanding about it. But without a pendant or anything, you can just take it within and work with it. But it's all about how you engage it and how deeply you wish to go with it. Okay, to continue. The mantrams and procedures Thoth gave for use in the individual temples that were visited on the Path of Horus Return to the Stars sacred journey are given in the next article in this issue. You may wish to work with the alphabet of the arc symbols, invocables, and meditation in whatever combinations you may feel guided to use. In our earlier work with them, both of us, that's Simeon and myself, began having interactions of various natures with the angels of the ark, ranging from hearing their eternal angelic choir sounds to actually seeing hosts of angels present with us. We share these with you here as a gift of grace to your souls. So let me see what is on the next page, and if we're going to continue with this. I believe, you know what, we're at the end of this particular video. However, we're going to go on with it. Watch me wind up reading practically the whole thing. It's kind of hard to put down. It's a real page turner, if I do say so myself. So anyway, we'll see. But for this video, we are at the conclusion. And I thank you all for joining me. And those of you who are not Kira Portal members, if you would like to continue with the videos, I urge you to subscribe, because this is the only free one of this particular series. And you'll not only get that, but a whole lot of other videos, access to all my ancient archives. I say ancient, but going back to the 1980s, and as digital downloads and a whole lot of other things, including discounts on my services. So that said, I bless you all, and many, many aloha breezes to you.